So I have been busy with the Rudall Rose low B flat foot lever project. Watching me solder, watching me file keys, watching me shape things and then get it wrong and then have to do it again doesn't make for very good video. So I'll describe a little bit of what I have done. I started off with the levers, like this one here for the low B flat. The low C, this is the most important one to get right, because all the other two keys nest with that. So whatever shapes I have here are get mirrored in the succeeding keys. The original keys were cast and then sanded and filed to final shape. Number one, I don't have any experience casting. Number two, I don't have any originals with which to cast. Even the closest known flute and serial number, which is only 30 digits off, the owner of that flute sent me molds of his keys. Ironically, he has levers but no pad cups. And I made plaster casts of those keys. They would not have fit on this flute. Every one of these low B flat foot flutes, possibly all of the Rudall Rose flutes, the keys are unique to that flute. So this one's getting keys that are unique to this flute. So in not casting them, I have to put them together piece by piece. So not counting the roller and the screw, there's a large piece here and then a spatula that's soldered on. Then this little angled piece here, let me get a pointer. This angled piece here, that is soldered here, soldered there, and then this piece I made a bending jig so I could get this radius the same on all of them. I will include a video of that at some point if I haven't put it in already. So once I made this key, the C lever, I was able to figure out what's going to go wrong and what's going to go right and what sort of things I can expect. And that led me to the B lever. So this is fresh off the soldering jig. And I'll walk through what I did for this. Just like with the C lever, the spatula part here that holds the roller is soldered onto this large gradual curve. The keystone piece is this angle. That has to match the angle on the C key. And then the other ones, if everything goes right, just fall into place. So this one, this is still very rough because it just came out of the pickle after soldering. First thing I did, soldered that one. Then I aligned this with the C key on the foot joint and removed material here. So that would give me a known height to work from, so I could monitor whether I'm going uphill, going downhill. Yeah, we can line up the bottom edge, but the foot joint is tapered. So if we just follow this bottom edge, we could end up making a lot more work. So I filed that down. Then I had to fit this piece here to that, and you have to get the angle just right. Silver soldering, you have to have tight joints. It isn't like lead soldering, like plumbing, where the solder fills the gap. In silver soldering and brazing, the solder actually bonds this piece and this piece on the molecular level. So the fit has got to be tight. If you've got solder in there as filler material, that's bad news. The other thing that I've had to pay attention to, one of my colleagues told me that when you're doing repairs on antique instruments, the practice is, and I don't know who monitors this practice, but you need to have silver content in your solder over 65%. Well, medium solder, which is what a lot of the suppliers in the US sell it as, is 70%. And the higher the silver content, the higher the melting point. So hard solder, which is 80%, maybe 85, I forget, is only a couple of hundred degrees off from the melting point of the silver itself. So it gets exciting in a hurry if you aren't paying attention. So the joints have to be very close. This one, I actually assembled it in place in the jig and ran a strip of sandpaper in between the joints so I could finish that joint up, because it's a little bit out. When you have an organic design like this, supposedly a straight key going on a tapered surface, and this end has to match up with its partner, and this end has to match up with its partner, and nothing else is allowed to bang into its neighbor. It gets kind of exciting. And obviously the last part down here, that was the last joint. And then so you can see, so I can angle this just right. I still have a lot of trimming to do. You know, this piece here, obviously I'm going to saw that off and file it. This little nub here is going to get filed off. This is going to get thinned out so it matches that. But you notice the angle of these is, you know, pretty close. It's not perfect, but I'll take care of that with the filing right now with my blue magic marker on there, and it not being filed to final shape. It looks a little off, but I'm going to fix that with the filing. From a bird's eye view, this gap all the way down is fairly uniform. I can do a little bit of tweaking there, make a little bit more room here, and of course all of these are going to get the little nub on there to operate the key. That's going to be the very last thing that I do. I have to get all of these polished up, hardened, and then I will get to that very last thing, which shouldn't take me long at all. In the grand scheme of things, compared to everything else on this project, not long at all. Probably equates to about 2 weeks, but we'll see how it goes. This key, even though it was larger than this one took me half as much time as the B took half as long as the C. And the B flat actually has fewer pieces. Well, it has the same number of pieces as, no, it has fewer pieces. It has, adjust the camera here. It has the same curved piece like here, comes out here. It has one that comes around here, and then that one is straight all the way up to here. And it's probably going to be offset just a hair on an angle to get around this this key so there's no collision there, but we will deal with that tomorrow.